Home Studio Tutor, the podcast. For independent home recording engineers, music producers, and entrepreneurs. Motivation, inspiration, and education. Home Studio Tutor, the podcast. Let your transformation begin. Welcome to Home Studio Tutor. We're glad that you joined us again for another episode where we intend to educate, motivate, and inspire you to move forward in your creative endeavors. Today, we have a guest that I'm very excited about. Me and this guest go back a lot of years. In fact, I remember this guy coming to the studio with another Philly rapper named Microphone Tone and just recording sessions and having fun, back in the day right here in the heart of Philadelphia. We have today Mike Trampe, who is at a company called BeatStars. And BeatStars is doing amazing things with independent music producers and allowing producers to sell their music and all that great stuff. So we're going to delve into Mike's journey. We're going to delve into how he got to where he is today. And along the way, hopefully we can give you a little bit of inspiration and guidance. Mike Trampe, how are you, brother?
My man, Samori, thank you for having me, brher. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I've been waiting for this one, man.
Okay.
A lot of great stuff.
Sure, you say that to everybody, but it's all good.
Everybody, but hey, But on a serious note, though, one thing I know about you is you are a marketing guru. I mean, that's what I say. You are a marketing guru, and I've watched you take a couple of independent online platforms and just elevate them. Mm-hmm. Just take them to levels that I don't think anybody saw happening. And it is that marketing that I really want to get into a little bit today. Mm-hmm. But before we go that far, man, just kind of, if you could let us know about Mike Trampe, man. I know you're at BeatStars now, but let's go back 5-10 years, man. Let's talk about your journey a little bit, man.
Yeah, I mean, we can even go back further than 5-10 years. We're talking about 15 plus years ago.
Let's do it.
I mean, even before that, I grew up in a musical household. Both my grandfathers were entertainers in the military, so I think that's where the music comes from. I didn't know this up until a few years ago, which is crazy. But my parents got me turntables when I was about 13 or 14. I started DJing when I was young. My sister got me into hip hop. She was all about all the East Coast hip hop, Big L, Biggie, Wu-Tang. We're talking early 90s. So
right.
That's kind of how I got into hip hop. And then I kind of found love with a lot of the West Coast stuff as it came, more prevalent in those years. And then just, my own love for music and, between DJing and then actually starting to rap myself. Because I used to get a lot of the vinyls that had instrumental versions and acapellas, and I'd make my own remixes and do all that type of stuff. So nice. That's how I kind of got in the musical side of thing. I've never played an instrument, nothing like that. But over the years, I've owned a studio. I've produced myself, just by buying equipment and trying to figure it out, just kind of understand the music part of it.
Right.
And that was before the business side of it, really. But yeah, just from there, I got an internship with HipHopDX in 2007. 2006, 2007, that turned into a part-time job about 3 months in, and then to a full-time job a couple months later.
Okay.
So if people don't know what HipHopDX is, it was the biggest hip-hop website in the world. It's still one of the biggest. It's been around for a while. But when I was there from 2007 to 2014, it was the top. It was the top hip hop website, winning VH1 awards, BET awards, then in the Source and everything that was kind of big on the hip hop scene back then for awards. And blogs are actually breaking artists back then, so things were a lot different,
right.
Compared to now, where it's, in my opinion, I don't think blogs break any artists. So it's kind of changed drastically. But that's kind of how I got my start. I transitioned from HipHopDX after 7 years. To running my own marketing agency, working on a reality show on BET called One Shot. Started working with BeatStars part-time, clients like Dat Piff, DJ Booth, a lot of different clients doing a lot of marketing things, community engagement things.
Right.
But as you said, I came here and recorded. Like I said, I've always been a rapper. So when I was actually working at HipHopDX is when I came here to rap. I was just doing it for the love of rapping. I wasn't trying to be a rapper, although I thought I was better than some of the people that were, had some claim to fame, but I just did it because I loved it. And it's just what I grew up on. I left this up, but my sister used to take me to the studio when, I was younger. I was 13, 14, 15. I was this little Trampy running around the studio. Yo, Trampy, who you hear on this beat, man?
Right.
From all the old heads. Yo, Trampy, go to the store and get us this. I'm not going to the store and getting you nothing.
Right.
I'm here to make my claim to fame here, make my mark on hip hop. And that's kind of, I was taught by a lot of really great people. They might not have big names in the music industry, or people might not know them, but a lot of the people who I looked up to, paved my way. So I'm appreciative.
Awesome, man. So you were before Hip Hop DX. Did you work a 9 to 5 anywhere else, or?
Yeah. So I went to college for 1 year for networking and programming, but I didn't really know what that meant. I just know I wanted to work with computers. I literally just started working with computers like 2 years before in high school. Like, so we're talking like the end, like late 90s. So computers weren't like a huge thing in every school.
Right.
So I started working with them, and I knew I wanted to do something with computers. And I love music. I just didn't know how to put the two and two together. So when I went to college, I hated it. I partied. I failed out. I dropped out. Came home, went to community college, failed out first semester. Then I started working in a hip hop clothing store. And I just was like, okay, this is dope. I get to listen to hip hop. I get to talk to people about hip hop and clothing and like just culture and stuff like that. Like, this is cool. So then during all that is when I was really trying to take music more serious, kind of like start our own label. And like, you know, I was managing my friends who are producers,
right,
who all ended up, you know, being incredibly dope and inspirations to me. But I didn't really know the business side of things. So from there, I just was making music, you know, trying to collab on music things. And then I was working at Office Max. I got a job at Office Max, like selling pencils and printers and stuff.
Okay.
And from there, I actually moved up in the company. At one point, I was the youngest acting store manager in the whole district. So I was like 22, 23 years old, like managing a store in Feasterville.
Okay.
And so I knew I had some type of leadership and people trusted me. And, you know, I kind of took a lot of stuff that I learned there and kind of shifted it over to the music side of things and took it a little bit more serious. And that was what I was doing. So I actually, Office Max was restructuring. They said, at that time I was an assistant manager, they said, we can give you this less of money and give you a new position, or you can basically cash out in a sense where we'll give you severance pay and then you can collect unemployment. And this is, I think Bush was in presidency at this time. So he was doing something crazy with the unemployment where I was able to get unemployment for like a year and a half.
Wow.
Where they kept extending it because it was tough out there. But during that time was when I was able to actually commit to doing the music thing. But I took the shot. I could have easily just taken a job. I might still be at Office Max. But I said, you know what? I'm going to take this chance and just roll with it. I got a part-time job at HipHopDX after the unemployment. And it was rough. I'm not going to lie. You know, just, you know, tough with money, you know, using credit cards to pay bills and stuff at times. Like, it's real. Right. But I took the shot and it was worth it to me. So it's, if I didn't take that shot. So sometimes you have to look at tough situations and know it could impact you negatively, but in the long run it could be something to change your life. So that's what I did kind of before the music thing full time. But it's been 15 years full time in music. And
you obviously, man, you know hard work. It sounds like it's in your DNA.
Yeah,
your work ethic.
On that, my dad was a mailman for 35 years and my mom was a waitress. So, I mean, there's two hard labor things. And, you know, I wish they didn't have those jobs because I think it took a toll on them physically and mentally probably. I mean, it's a stressful things to do. Now they're retired. But my dad still works part-time. He's retired and still works. He just, you know, it's got a job. It is in the DNA. So I think I learned that from my parents for sure early on.
Right, especially moving up through Office Max and all that good stuff. So you get this opportunity with HipHopDX. So at the time, the largest hip-hop blog in the world. And you started out as an intern, and after a few months, you got a full-time position. What was going on in those few months, man? They obviously saw something.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the guy's name was Paul Arnold, I believe. So thank you, Paul Arnold, if you see this. He was the internship manager, and I basically just went to all sorts of beat battles and like MC events around Philly and just like brought, I don't think, we did shoot some video, but a lot of pictures. I ended up meeting Petey Crack and he was holding up a HipHopDX sign. I was meeting like E&S, like a lot of these Philly guys that were kind of big back then. And I put a whole reel, I actually did 2 reels, just all around Philly from the studio to the barbershop to the local corner store to the bars. Everywhere where I knew people in Philly and got everyone to hold up HipHopDX flyers and signs. And I just put together these reels and I said, yo, check out these reels. And they're still on YouTube if you search for them. They're tough to find, but they're there. And that was the thing. They were like, holy crap. I don't know if I can curse on here. So I'm going to say, holy crap.
There you go.
Yeah. And they were just like, this is crazy. They're like, we've never like, you know, people get internships are just like, just doing the minimum to kind of just stay relevant with the brand. But like, you're just like going all in. I'm like, yeah, like this is nothing. Like, this is normal to me. Like, this is what I do on a day-to-day thing in my daily, like, routine.
See, so you went above and beyond, though. I mean, to you it was normal, but to them or any employer, they're looking at this intern, and you're not just doing the bare minimum.
Nope.
And I think there's a lot to learn from that.
Oh,
man.
100%. I mean, if I didn't do that, I mean, again, my whole entire career could have been changed from that moment. Like, all these little things add up to, I feel like, everything that's happened in my career and like still where it's putting me and like where it's going to put me in the future. So
Sure, man. So at some point at HipHopDX, you got involved with marketing. All right, because I know you and I had many conversations over the years about Facebook advertising and marketing. And I know that that's something you're really great at. How did you transition to marketing at HipHopDX? What got you into that?
yeah, so when I was at HipHopDX and even in like a couple years prior in college, college was like, 2002 to 2003. I think social media really just came about. There was MySpace. I think Facebook a couple years later was, only for colleges.
Right.
So I started seeing these networks popping up and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Like you can do music stuff on these things. And it's like what I want to do. Like I'm good with people. I like talking to people. I'm a personable person. I know a lot of people and I can tie music together with this. Like, this is crazy. So I just started doing research. You got to remember there was no courses back then. There was no schools. They're actually teaching social media in schools now. Like there's none of that. So I kind of just learned it from the jump and just was kind of trying to figure out everything I could. So I actually brought all this stuff to HipHopDX. Not saying that they weren't aware. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm the one who, thought of all this. They were aware, obviously, what was going on. But we pushed. I remember voting at one of our company parties in like the first year I worked there. We would have like, not a party, but like a company gathering every year out in LA. And I remember like us voting on like things we should focus on for the next year. And obviously I was like, social media, you know what I mean? And like, surprisingly, everybody was like sided with me. Like, and the owner was like, oh, wow. Like, he was a little surprised, but he's like, okay, like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And so we created the Twitter. I created the Twitter, created the Facebook. Everything that was created on social media was done through me. I think the only one besides Instagram, because I was gone, I think Instagram came out like 2014, 2015. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I'm not going to claim the fame and all that, but you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a push. I thought like, this is where like, I don't think everybody was sure yet. Like this is the future. Like, or like, is this kind of just a fad? Cause like MySpace was kind of dying out. So it's like, is all this stuff going to kind of just die out? But obviously, it hasn't. It just exploded. So I think a lot of luck played into it, but I think me being in the right place at the right time and, helped out a lot. And again, if I didn't take that chance to leave an office max, I might have had it. So
Right. So were you actually, you got them involved in Twitter, Facebook, all these social platforms. Were you actually doing paid advertising with them or no?
No. So no paid advertising, all organic. So it was all about building a community and just basically just putting out content and stuff like that, building up the followers, building up the likes. It was pretty simple metrics back then. There wasn't a lot of stuff as we look into social media now. Advertising I actually got into more or less towards the end of HipHopDX and when I was starting to work with my own artists and then starting my own marketing agency. That's when I really started providing like the advertising stuff, probably like 2014, 2015 and so on.
All right, awesome. And we'll get to that in a second. But back on the social media, what advice would you give to those who want to build up their followers on social media? I know things have changed since then. The algorithms have changed, but what could somebody do to build up their Instagram or Facebook? What can they do? What advice would you give?
Just focus on your content. I think whatever you do, make sure you're the best at it. And have a lot of content. It's a fast world. People move fast. So if you don't have a lot of content to fill, people are going to forget about you. But consistency is a huge thing. With anything in life, consistency is huge. So just content, consistency, I guess the 2 C's, and just be yourself. And we can get into the advertising part next because you don't need to buy fake followers. You don't need to do crazy things. If you want to be one of those social media stars where you do like irate things to try to get views, cool, like do you. That's not my style. I would rather take great content, consistent content, and then put it in front of audiences that I know will digest it. And you can do that with paid social media marketing. And it's crazy to me that a lot of companies don't do it to this day, and labels too. Like I've talked to several labels over the years about it. Like, hey, when I had my agency, we want you to do this and that, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but for the same price, like we could do this and this will be, no, we don't want to do that.
Right.
That's crazy to me. Like, why? Like, it's sometimes I feel like people do marketing things and things on social media more for like the way it looks than actually like the results you get, which is just crazy to me. I want results. I want to build organic audiences. And you literally, if you have good content, anybody can do it.
Right. You find your niche, right?
Yeah, that's
find
it.
Your niche.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you talk about the fake followers, man. I just read something about a young lady who had, 2-3 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And this apparel brand came to her and said, man, I think we want to open a line and work with you. They told her, though, you have to sell 36 shirts. She couldn't sell 36 shirts.
Yeah, that's
she
what
had
I mean.
Millions of followers.
Numbers mean nothing. I mean, I think Jay-Z said it perfectly on What's Free on the Meek album. And I don't know if you remember the line, but he said, I don't have a billion streams, but I got $1 billion. So like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have the money, or would you rather have the feel of the money and the look of the money? Because that's what most people are out. Like,
yeah, man.
That's just my personal thing. Like, I personally never want to be famous. I never want to go after any of those types of metrics. Like, money's great too, don't get me wrong, but it also can be the root of all evil. So it's like, I'm about making money with people I mess with and I care about, and making everybody happy. When you build that, and you can build a community of people that you're breaking bread with, and you're helping them reach their goals, like, karma is a beautiful thing.
It is, man. It's interesting you say that. To segue, man, you know, we've been around long enough to see different generations, and the attitudes and the way different generations move.
Yep.
Would you say that this generation seems to be more into maybe the visual as opposed to that bottom line? Like, well, what are your thoughts on that, man? Is it more about the followers and the friends, or is it more about, man, let me have a nest egg and wealth?
Yeah, no, I think they are, but I don't think it's because they want to be. I think it's what they're taught. I think there's a lot of people out there just influencing the wrong things, and I think if they just got like mentored the right way, and there are a lot of artists and people who do it, don't get me wrong, but I think the majority of people, we're in a social media world, like, oh, let's go viral, like, that's a thing, like, and it's proven anytime anything crazy happens, there's a billion people standing around with their phones like this, instead of actually trying to solve an issue or actually provide a solution. So I think a lot of it is just, you know, is, as they say it, I seem so old, man, as the kids say it, for the gram, you know, and just, you know, whatever the kids are saying. But it's kind of crazy. But I think if there's just more people who actually explain that you can build a real audience and be successful, and it doesn't have to be like the superstar like fame. Like, I think that's not being taught. Like, there's not a lot of people out there teaching that. Like, there's actually money and ways to be sustainable in this business that might not put you on, you know, Billboard's top charts, or maybe have you on TMZ, which I personally don't. If I was an artist, I wouldn't want it. If I can connect with my real fans and I can live off of it and tour, or, you know, if it's not even music, a merch or whatever it is, like, there's ways of doing it. I mean, you just have to treat it like a business. What do you think all these businesses on South Street are doing? Like, you know what I mean? Not all of them are top 10 businesses in the world, but like, they're sustaining and they're selling stuff. They've built a customer base. So you can do the same thing with music. It's just, I think people get so confused the way people kind of like paint the music industry to be. Like, it's like, you got to make it big or you don't make it, that's crazy to me.
Yes, for real. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah,
you know,
it's going to keep growing.
And how big of a piece do you have to be to make a living? I mean, 0.0001%.
First thing you got to ask too is what do you consider? I've had this conversation before. Is making it, or what are you comfortable with living off of? So,
right.
I know people making 40, 50 grand a year, but they get to tour still and do what they love. And then, you know, there's other people. You see these artists making, you know, so-called millions of dollars, and they're complaining like they can't even put out their music, and they hate their label. And this isn't to down any label. Like, there's great labels and great people doing things out there, but for the most part, you know, you see a lot of negative stuff too. So
right, yeah, and I think our audience it's what they want to know, man. They want to know, how can I transition from that 9 to 5 and do this for a living, or how can I make my music sound better so I can do this for a living? So all of this is great, man. Back to Facebook a little bit, man. When I started learning more about Facebook advertising, I saw a stat, may or may not be true anymore, but it said for every $1 that you put into your advertising, you can get $3 back, you know, with the right content, the right ad. This was several years ago. And I looked at that and said, whoa. And that was when, you know, I called you. We've been boys for a while. So I said, Mike, man, you got to tell me what this Facebook advertising is all about, man. But I thought that was incredible, man. And I don't think that a lot of artists are using advertising platforms and paid advertising. Can you talk? I know you had a marketing agency for a while, man, and you're very good at that. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts on Facebook advertising and kind of how you see that whole thing?
Yeah, I'm not advertising as much as I used to, but it doesn't mean it's not part of like our daily plans, you know, at BeatStars, or, you know, really any company that I was ever involved with, like, besides the DX back in the day when advertising wasn't as, you know, prevalent, as big. But it's huge to me, because these communities were built, I think, with the intention of creating something cool But then as they saw how much information and data was available, they really focused in on the advertising side. And you obviously could go back to look at the trials with, or not the trials, the hearings or whatever they're called with Zuckerberg. And he explained, kind of how the company was built and, how much data and information they really have. So now that type of data information is available, you should use it to your advantage. And it's not sneaky or it's not cheating. Like it's information that's out there. If people want to put that public information out there and like they like certain things and your brand is kind of fits in that same realm, like why shouldn't you put your content in front of them?
Right.
So I think everybody should be doing it. I think everybody can do it. They've made it affordable where you spend $1 a day. Like that's $30 a month. Like don't tell me you can't get $30 a month. Like most people probably eat that in a week out, instead of eating at home. So
right.
I'm guilty of it too. So it's just, I think you need to really focus in on who your brand is and who your fan base is. And you can do that various ways. You can look at analytics on social media. You can also draw up charts of like you can name 5 fans, like give them actual names and like races and locations and whatever, and say, hey, Tony is a 25-year-old, Hispanic man who lives in Harlem and he buys my product. Like you can literally break things down to where you can see who your fan bases are. So then when you take that information and you put that into Facebook, you can find those people. Right. And then you can put material in front of them. And that's just like the intro to advertising. Then it's like, okay, it's kind of like putting educated, what's the term? Throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. It's like that, but it's more educated than that because you actually have more data. So you kind of know what's going to stick. You can start out slow and you can just start collecting data. Good way is to collect emails. You can collect them through a pixel that's on your website that collects data so you can remarket to them. It's just really about, gathering information and just kind of seeing who would be a fan of your stuff, but you're doing it in an educated way because you've already deciphered who those people are. So 9 times out of 10, if you do that correctly and your content's as good as you think it is, content is key. Like, let me make that clear. If you have crappy content, it's not going to work. Right. You might still get a little traction, but you really need good content and understand, like, look at things from a consumer's perspective. Like, why would I like what this person's putting out? Like, what would entice me to click on something or engage in something? So you got to think like a consumer too. And that's the most important thing is the content, understanding your audience, building out that niche and then then going in and building that all in the Facebook ad manager and then testing. And then it's just a lot of testing. Right. Like I say, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can spend $1 a day to get started. Don't get me wrong.
$1. Yeah,
and you can do Facebook, Instagram, IG stories. You can do all that in Facebook Ad Manager. And I'm sure IGTV stories are coming soon too. Or not stories, ads are coming soon. IGTV ads are going to come soon.
Right. So what you're saying, Facebook has all this data. Yeah. You got all these billions of people on Facebook and they know everything about you. Yep. They know your likes. Yep. They know what you watch on TV. They know all of this. And what we're able to do using that ads manager is find our target market, find a market that's into our niche, and basically put our content in front of them.
Yeah, that's all I did. I managed one artist. His name's J-Tech, super dope kid, young, like 24 years old, been managing for 3 years now. No fans, like no fan base at all. And he'll tell you that, and just no traction. I had like 3 songs done. Now we've probably completed 30 to 40 songs in 3 years. Some might say that's not enough. I might not disagree with them. We have more work to do, but what we did was he had a sound that sounded like Joey Badass, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Most people say he sounds like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole mixed together.
Okay.
So we targeted. We went after those people. Then we did some other like niche audiences as well. And we just built it out that way. And we just put his content in front of him and it just exploded. And then obviously we were able to retain those fans and over the years deliver more content and just engage with the community. That's another big thing that people do. Yeah, you do. If you run ads and you do all this stuff and then not engage with the people who are commenting, it's a waste of money. Right. Engage and know your fan base. Like each fan you should take like literally as like a 1-by-1 and try to get to know them if you can, or at least try to engage with them and respond back. And because those people potentially could be paying your bills. That's how you have to look at it. Are they going to spend $100 a year on what I'm selling?
Right. So when people are saying, hey, great photo or whatever, engage.
Yeah, engage. It takes time. I'm not saying it doesn't take time, but you have to be engaged. You have to know your fan base because that's only going to help you promote and advertise later. So with those tools, there should be no reason. And then you collect data. Like I said, we've built up thousands of emails. Then another big thing that I recommend, and maybe after you get advertising down and you actually have a little bit of a niche and a fan base and you have data, is SMS marketing, where you actually text message market. Yes. So now what we do with his new videos is we'll put it unlisted on YouTube and we'll text the people on the text list the video, and they get to see the video before anybody. They get to comment before anybody, and we can actually gauge like, okay, we sent this out. Damn, it got 1,000 views. It's not even out yet. That's all based off the people sharing it with their friends, and you really get a gauge of who's really like into your music and stuff. And if someone gives them your phone number, most likely like they're really into your stuff. I'm not giving out my phone number to stuff that I'm uninterested in. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
so,
sir. Yes, sir.
The only bad thing is it's US only. So I'm sure there probably are like worldwide plans, but it gets really expensive. But I think $20 a month. We actually have it integrated on BeatStars. It's called Fan Connect.
Okay.
So you can actually do that on BeatStars. If you're, we always suggest if you want to get free downloads to get an email in exchange or a Twitter follow, or we offer these different things, but now we actually offer that. They have to text message in to get the beat for free.
Are you using BeatStars platform for JTech for your SMS? Text?
No, so we're going to switch over though, because this is a new integration we just did. But we are using another company that's actually the parent company of the company we're using.
Yeah. Are you using Twilio, by the way? Or are you
no, it's called Ukubo, I think. UKOOBOO. But they're the parent company of Fan Connect.
Okay.
So they offer the technology, I guess, for them, and we partnered with Fan Connect to do it. So it's really dope. It's not that expensive, but I mean, just to have the ability to, especially if you're a touring artist too. Like, yo, I'm in your city. Bang, send it out. Maybe it's only 10 people. It don't matter. There's 10 people out.
Yes.
They'll probably buy merch. Like there's so many tools and resources out there to make you successful that people are so hyper focused on I need to blow up, or I need to get in this label meeting, and control your fan base, control your data, control who you're interacting with. You can build. That should be like bottom line. Like that should be your floor. So if it doesn't pan out the way, if your end goal is to get signed, that's great. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if it fails, you still have like this solid fan base. Like, hey, I'm still making $40,000 a year. Like, maybe I'll drive Uber a couple nights a week just to make up for it if you need a little bit more cash. But you're able to say I work off my music, and that should be the goal, in my opinion, for everybody. But not a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, you're right. And I think SMS text messaging is going to be the big thing in advertising. I see it coming.
And messenger marketing too. So we have that integrated on BeatStars now too. If you go to a pro page, it pops right up, and as soon as they message into you, you get their information stored in the Facebook. You can actually make different chat groups with their information. So you can then send out remarketing campaigns like, hey, just drop the new beat or whatever it is. So messaging marketing, SMS marketing, email marketing obviously will never die, in my opinion.
Right.
But I mean, most people are checking their email. If they're not, they're definitely checking their text messages.
So let's talk BeatStars, Mike. Let's talk BeatStars. This is an impressive company, an impressive platform. Yeah. What I know about them is they help independent producers sell their beats, man. Yeah. And it's an online platform to do that. In fact, I have a production collective. We sell our beats through BeatStars, man. It's a great platform. We know that Lil Nas X, Old Town Road, that beat was leased. It was a non-exclusive lease off of BeatStar for $30.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about BeatStars, man.
Yeah, so the company was founded in 2008 by A. Batchon. I think I met him like 2011, 2012. And then like slightly after that, I was working part-time when I was, I think, just leaving HipHopDX. And so we kind of got acclimated. We worked on some other projects, and then he asked me to come on part-time, and I did. And up until about a little over 2 years ago, I was part-time, but he asked me to come on full-time, which was, not going to lie, it wasn't an easy decision because I had to cut off a lot of clients and a lot of people, not, relationship-wise, but work-wise. And it was another risk I had to take. And I feel like it was for the better. It's helped me tremendously. The community, the biggest thing about BeatStars is, so it's a marketplace. We're technically a technology company. Okay. So we build technology to give resources to artists and producers. So it's not just for producers, for artists too.
Okay.
And basically, we give them these tools. They pay. There's like a monthly fee, or they can pay yearly. And we basically help them, distribute, sell, lease their music. You can buy non-exclusive licenses, exclusive licenses from the pro page, which is like the integrated personal website you get that you can fully customize. Obviously, you can integrate your email marketing. We have the SMS marketing. We have the messenger marketing. We have the marketplace. So the marketplace is different from the pro page. Pro page is like your own personal beat selling or song selling website compared to the marketplace, which is like the mall where there's a ton of different stores inside and different producers and stuff that you can purchase from.
Right.
So there's two aspects to what we're doing. So basically, I mean, we're just providing the contracts. We give them the contracts for when they sell their licenses. There's just so much to it. That's why I'm kind of drawing a blank.
No, but it's great. And I think now, honestly, a lot of people have heard about BeatStars. You guys have done a great job. And of course, for a while, you were on the marketing side. Yep. You helped that BeatStars brand really grow from a lot of your own marketing prowess. Mm-hmm. But now you have a different position with BeatStars. What are you doing now?
Yeah, so for the last 2 years, I was more or less heading up like the marketing side of things. So social media, contests, meetups, things of that nature. But we just brought in, we actually just hired a lot of new people. So on the development side and on the marketing side, so we just hired a new CMO, new social media person, a new A&R/playlister. Right. So my role has kind of changed from doing a lot of the everyday marketing, social media postings and stuff like that to more of a community director.
Right.
So I'm talking to, I'll have a conversation with a producer, like Jetson made, who produced Shug for The Baby, which was a huge song.
Right.
Who was a member, but we're talking with him about certain things. And, maybe the next day I'm talking to just a new member I found on the platform who has incredible music. I'm noticing they're starting to make consistent sales. We want to learn about them. What are they doing? Another example, last week we were up in New York. We shot just content with some of our community. We had four different producers come out from all walks of life. One, a big EDM remixing producer. Another one who's an OG's, in the game, worked with Pun and Biggie, to a kid who's 23 who just made 20 grand in a month on BeatStars, to a member who's brand new on BeatStars, but he just had a big song with Russ. So it's like this weird grouping, and they all have different personalities, but they're all there for the same reason. So that's like a lot of the community stuff I'll put together, of bringing people together and just, keeping this community rolling, because I think we all feed off of each other. Even the people who work at BeatStars, not just the people in the community of like selling and leasing beats.
Right.
So that's kind of like the role I'm taking on. Still doing creative stuff, still doing events in 2020. We're kind of redoing our meetups, and it's just different role, still doing a lot of the same things, but just not as heavy on the social media side. More on the relationship-based side. Plus our affiliate program we're working on, and it's a lot of other cool things. Can't really dive too deep, but some really cool things coming up.
I get that, man. And how much revenue has BeatStars allowed producers and artists to bring in from your platform?
Yeah, so the last time it was actually like totally generated was probably a couple months ago, 6 months ago, and it was over 50 million. Wow. So since then, it's definitely grown. And I know on Black Friday this year, 2019, it was the biggest sales day in history. It was like almost 200 grand in a day.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
That the producers and artists collected.
Yeah, not us. Just because, like I said, we only make money like certain ways. So it's like you buy a membership, which we charge, and not all that's profit. Obviously, there's overhead, of course, of running any business, and then free members too when they sell. It's a 70-30 split, just to be 100% transparent.
Right.
But honestly, what I tell people too is you can't afford $19.99 a month or yearly at $14.99 a month. It's just like, you sell one beat and you can make that money back in a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? One beat lease. So I get that some people maybe just don't have it, and that's why we have the free version, and the percentages are still hefty in their favor. So but yeah, that's kind of how the tier structure works.
Yeah, so I know the free version is 70-30, but I know when you pay, then you keep
100%.
You keep 100%.
Yeah,
that's just $19 a month, man. Which is awesome.
It's not, and if you pay yearly, it's $14.99. I mean, it's less than $200 for the year, and there's people making unlimited, non-exclusive, not even exclusive, selling non-exclusives for that price, and they're making their money back in one sale.
See,
for a year.
Yeah, huh?
So it's doable. It's if you understand, again, all the stuff I previously talked about, building audiences, advertising. Yeah, you might have to spend some money, but it will even itself out if you stay consistent and you stay on top of it. And again, you have to have good content. I'm not saying anybody who just started making beats, like, you got to put that experience in. You got to have patience too. If you're brand new to it, I think a lot of people in today's world are very eager and what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to think of the right word.
Yeah, I mean they want it now, don't they?
Yeah, they don't want to wait. The patience level is kind of low. So, and I don't want to say entitled, but because that's a little of a strong negative word, but it's a little bit of entitlement. Like, and I get it because I've been there where it's like, yo, I know I'm dope. Like, I deserve this. But it's like, realistically, in 2 years, you look back and go, damn, I wasn't dope. Right. I still deserve it, but I needed to put that work in. So it's So that's something I think a lot of people should kind of take to heart and really think about it. You got to be in this for the long haul. This isn't some quick like get rich business, in my opinion.
No, it's not. And even if you think you're dope, and even if you think you're doper than that person on the radio or that person who has the major record deal, it doesn't matter. You don't know what kind of work that person put in. You got to put that work in, like you said, man. Well, I tell you, Mike, man, it's been a pleasure, man. You dropped a lot of gems today, man. The marketing aspect, man, is one of the biggest aspects that I think many independent artists and producers overlook. You know, they don't look at the marketing. They don't look at determining what their niche is. You know, targeting that niche, doing any type of advertising. You have got to invest in yourself, man. I think you did a great job kind of breaking that down, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Because I tell you, man, you can tell somebody what you do, show them what you do, and they'll make a pretty dope project. But if you teach them how to do it, they can build a career, man. I appreciate you, Mike.
Thank you, Samori. I appreciate you, man.
Of course. It's been a pleasure, man. Make sure you go to BeatStars.
BeatStars.com.
BeatStars.com. Check it out. See what they're doing. If you're an artist, look for some beats. If you're a producer, it's a great platform to sell your music.
If you're an artist, you can sell on BeatStars too. A lot of people don't know this. You can sell your songs, right?
Wow.
Just, I mean, iTunes is going away. There's really nowhere you can sell your songs. I mean, so look at it that way, and look at yourself as not just an artist and you just get on tracks. You can sell your ad libs, you can sell your hooks, acapellas, you can sell all this stuff to producers who maybe don't have artists to work with where they live. We have almost 2 million members in 160 countries. There's countries where there aren't artists, singers, rappers, whatever it is. So stop thinking in a box, start thinking about there are no limitations, and there's really not. So utilize the platform. It's only going to keep growing. So
yes, you are global. You are a business. We want to thank you for checking this episode, Home Studio Tutor. Again, we're here to educate, motivate, and be your guide, man. Best of luck. Keep making music and just do it. Peace.
Peace.